Hi, everybody. I am happy to be here to talk with y'all today about ClassPass and to share with you some great resources that you can use while we are on our digital learning hiatus from actual school in person, and then when we are all back together at school. So, ClassPass is our partnership with the Atlanta Fulton County Library, and it provides you with access to resources through that library. And there are a variety of resources you can access. I'm going to show you how to access both materials that you can get through the library branches, as well as materials that you can access fully online. So the first thing let's talk about is how you get to ClassPass. There are two ways that you can get there. You can go through My Backpack, or you can go through the direct website address down right here on this slide. So for My Backpack, you will go in to My Backpack. You will look for the icon that says AFPLS ClassPass. Here it is right here. And when you click on that icon, it's going to take you to the landing page. So this is the page that you will see when you first come in to ClassPass. Now, the first thing that I want to share with y'all on ClassPass is how to access materials at the libraries. And I know our physical libraries are largely closed right now, but I want you to know how to do this. And even though they are closed, you can still access audiobooks and ebooks by going through the library's search engine. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on Books and Materials here in the middle of this green menu bar. So when you click on Books and Materials, you will come to a page that looks like this. And on this page, you'll see that right now the library is closed because of COVID-19. But what you're going to want to do is to click on My Account. The red arrow is pointing to where it will be on the screen. And then you will use your student ID for your card number and your APS password, which is usually your lunch number, for your PIN. So when you click on log in, it will bring up a screen that looks like this. You can see I've logged in before, so my library card number is there, but you will enter your student number. It usually starts with a 2 and has 7 digits here in the library card number box. And then you will enter your PIN, which is your student lunch number. And when you log in, you'll see the page doesn't change very much. It still looks very similar to what it did before we logged in, except that now up here, mine says, "Welcome, Sherry Neal." It gives me an option to log out. So I'm going to show you briefly what it looks like when you go to My Account. When you come into My Account here, you can see this is not my home address. This is my school work address. But you can see that it'll show me what I have checked out, anything I have on hold, and if I have any fines. But one of the great things about the ClassPass program is that there will never be any fines here as long as you're checking out through the ClassPass, because the program doesn't have late fees. So when you come in through the catalog, you can search for books, audiobooks, ebooks, and more, and place a hold on them to pick them up at the library of your choice. So I'm just going to walk you through what this looks like by typing in a search for Jason Reynolds. So we see here that there are 66 results for Jason Reynolds in the catalog. And as I scroll down and look, I see that a lot of these are actually electronic resources. So this little symbol right here, see if I can get it to highlight, this little symbol here next to format, this downward arrow indicates that this is a downloadable ebook that I could download and read. So I can preview it. So you see I get a little preview of the first chapter. I could also do an audiobook. So here's a format that has a little set of headphones and it says it is Overdrive Listen. So this one is one that I would listen to. And you'll see with some of these, like this says download. So I could click download. I could immediately start listening to Bettina by Jason Reynolds. I could place a hold. Sometimes ebooks, you have to place a hold. You can't check them out if someone else is reading it. But let's say that I actually wanted a book. So I could limit over here in the format limit right here. I could limit to books. I'm going to click include. And now it's just going to show me the books that are in print. So they're not ebooks. You'll notice the little icon here shows a little book with no download arrow and no headset. So these are the books. And if I wanted to check one of these out, I would place a hold. I would pick the branch that I want, which for me, my closest is Kirkwood, and then I would click place hold. And then I would monitor in my account here when my book was available. And as soon as it showed up here that my hold was available, I would go and pick it up at the library. So this is a great resource for accessing things that are in the library itself. And so I just wanted you to be aware of how this works and that you can access these things in the library system. So for now, the online access is going to be the best thing for all of us because the libraries are closed, but we can still get books. So I'm going to show you how to get to the online access. So we are going to go back to that landing page. So I've come to my backpack, I clicked ClassPass. I'm back here on this landing page. Here's where I went to the library earlier. But now if I scroll down, I see that there are some icons here that say elementary school, middle school, high school, and employees only. So I'm going to click on middle school. And that takes me to a page that looks very similar to the previous page, except that now I have a lot of icons for different applications where I can access online materials. So we are going to talk first about Overdrive. So Overdrive is a great place to go for ebooks and audiobooks. So see, I've highlighted the icon here. This is the one you're going to be looking for. It has a big O. So let's come out. Let's click on Overdrive. And so I'm still logged in because I logged in earlier, but let me log out so you can see what it'll look like if you're not logged in. So here I am in Overdrive. No, it's not keeping me logged out. So when you come into Overdrive, typically if you're not signed in, what you'll see is a sign in here. Your card number for Overdrive is going to be the username that you type in when you're accessing your computers, your digital bridge device, whatever you're accessing. So if you're a student, your ID number will look something like this: SNeil1199 are the numbers that I use. But it'll be the first letter of your first name, the first up to 7 letters of your last name, and then the final 4 digits of your student ID. Now, when you sign in, you'll see that there is a lot of information here that shows up right on the front page. It's pretty neat looking. We have tiles showing the books that we can check out. You can see that most of these here are ebooks that are popping up, but here's an audiobook right here. The Night Owl and the Dogfish is an audiobook that you could listen to. And you'll notice one of the things about Overdrive is that for the ebooks, it functions a lot like regular books, like print books. So you'll see up here at the top that some of these say wait list, wait list. So the way that Overdrive works is that only one person at a time can have a copy of an ebook checked out. So you may have to request the book be put on hold for you, just like you do with a print book. But if a book is available, you can immediately download it and start reading it. You would just click borrow and it would immediately come down. So that's Overdrive. I wanted to show you one cool thing about it. If you come into my account over here and you click on settings, you can do a few things here that are helpful. First, you can change what your default checkout date is. So the ebooks, once you check them out, if it hits your default checkout date, it's going to disappear from your account. You can go back in and check it out again, but this is what it's going to when it's going to disappear. So you can see I have my ebooks on 21 days and audiobooks on 14 days. But the thing that I think is really cool is if you come down here to display options, you can do a couple of things that are helpful. So I can change my screen to high contrast. So maybe I'm reading at night and this is easier to see. Maybe have some vision problem that makes this a little easier to see. So it'll change everything that I look at on the page to high contrast. The other thing that you can do is you can turn on dyslexic font. So this is the website now in dyslexia, which is a font that is easier for people with dyslexia to read. And it will put everything on the website into this font. And I just think that's a really cool, helpful feature with Overdrive. So I am going to exit out of Overdrive. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to come back, get us back on the landing page. I'm going to come back to middle school, and we're going to look at a few other resources. So Overdrive, again, is ebooks and audiobooks. There is dyslexic font available, which I think is super helpful. You can also do the highlighted reading there for nighttime viewing. So now I want to show you Access 360. So Access 360, when I created this slide, you'll see I'm pointing it there to an icon that wasn't showing properly. But this is another database of ebooks and audiobooks, but one that is specially curated for Atlanta public schools. So when we go and look into Access 360, you'll see that the books there are ones that you may be familiar with. So let's back out here and let's come look at Access 360. So Access 360 is right here beside Overdrive. That means they have the same login information. And there's always a reminder here about what's needed to log in. So you see this is your username, so that first initial, last name, and the 4 numbers, and then your PIN, which is your lunch number. So let's look at Access 360. So when we come in here, we see Access 360 looks a lot like Overdrive. It has the tiles showing the titles. But you'll notice that these are books that you're maybe familiar with because a lot of them are reading bowl books. There are also books that are part of the curriculum, like 8th grade was reading To Kill a Mockingbird, so here's To Kill a Mockingbird in ebook format. You'll note, though, that some of these are not available because they're checked out. Some you have to place a hold on because someone else is reading them. Some you can check out right away. But this is a great place to come if Overdrive doesn't have what you want, but you know it's something that we use in school. So again, everything that's in Access 360, these are going to be titles that we use in school. And you'll see again, there are audiobooks down here. They have a little audiobook icon, and there are also ebooks. And you can read these on any device. So I would log into this just like I log in as a teacher login. It's a little bit different than yours, but I would log in with that library number, and then I'm able to check out books here. All right, so that is Access 360. Just a reminder, same login as Overdrive, first letter of your first name, up to the first 7 letters of your last name and the numbers. You should be used to using that to log into various things. All right. So the next resource I want to talk to you about is Hoopla. And Hoopla is going to take us a second to walk through because it does have a different login. So I'm going to put up here the instructions, and you can refer back to this slide in the slides when you're trying to log in. But basically, with Hoopla, you are going to register for an account. The first screen that'll pop up will ask you to put in an email and a password that you make up, the password you make up. For your email, you can use any email you want. You can use your Atlanta Public Schools Gmail account, but you could also use a private email if you want. It doesn't really matter. After you do these two things, register, you put in your email and you pick your password and click next. It'll then prompt you to enter the library. And if Fulton, Georgia system is not the first library system listed, it should be, but if it's not, you can type in the zip code 30306 and that should pull up. And then you'll select that library system, click next, and then again, you'll enter your student username as the library card number. So let me show you what Hoopla is going to look like as you come in. I'm just going to back out here to this page. So we're back on the page with all the little icons, and we're going to look at Hoopla. So you see, I'm already logged into Hoopla. I have it where it'll send me emails. So let's come back. We're going to come back and look. So Hoopla, the great thing about it is that Hoopla has a little bit of everything. If I click on this pull down menu, you'll see there are audiobooks, there are movies, there's music, comics, ebooks, television. So these are big categories of materials that you have access to through Hoopla. And you can search by other categories as well. But I just want to show you kind of the range. So let's look for the Beatles. And if I come here and look at this, you'll see I got 210 results for the Beatles. And there are a wide range of formats here. So here's a movie about the Beatles and how they wrote their songs. Here's another movie about the Beatles, about Lennon and McCartney. Here's an ebook that I could read about the Beatles. Here's some music I could download and listen to. There's a comic strip about the Beatles. There are audiobooks that I could listen to. So you see that there are a wide range of items here that you can access. So this is really great, particularly while we're out, because you have access to movies and music and books and comics and TV shows all in here. And you could come in here and want to see only the most recent things. So I could look at things that were released in the last 12 months, and it's going to show me just that stuff. So let's look at Jason Reynolds too, my search from earlier. You'll see I've got a lot of ebooks and audiobooks here for him as well. All right, so that is Hoopla. I think Hoopla is great. I think you're going to love Hoopla because there is so much here to enjoy. And another benefit to Hoopla is that unlike Overdrive, you can immediately check out books. So there's no waiting for a book. There are not limits. Multiple people can be looking at the same ebook, listening to the same audiobook, watching the same movie at the same time. It doesn't have the limits that Overdrive does. You can also, again, for folks who maybe are interested in resources for those with dyslexia, you can do a read aloud. So, or maybe you just like to listen to the book. A lot of the books will let you, when you get in there, have the book read aloud. And you can change the font size and color in your books as you're reading them, in the ebooks as you're reading them, to make them easier to use. So that's Hoopla. I think it's a great resource. I've enjoyed using it for all kinds of things, and I think that you'll enjoy it as well. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of other quick resources that are available. So Mango Languages has the same login information as Hoopla, and it allows you to practice. So here at Inman, if you're taking Latin or Spanish, you could log in to Mango and do some practice. It's a lot like Duolingo. Some of you may be familiar with that app, um, but you can log in and use that. I want to talk to you too about the nonfiction resources and show you what those look like. And you'll see that these just ask you for a library barcode and you'll use your student username. But let's take a look really quickly at these so you can see what they look like. So I'm going to come back to the ClassPass, to the middle school resources, and let's take a quick look at these two resources here. I'm going to pull up the virtual reference because I think this is a resource that I've actually shown some students how to use, and I think that they will like it. So you would enter your library barcode here, which your library barcode again is going to be that first initial, last name, and the 4 numbers. So I've entered mine, and here I am, and these are all nonfiction ebooks. So this is a great place to come and do research. So right before the break, I actually had an 8th grader who came in who was able to find a biography of a person. She was researching for a social studies paper by searching in here. So you can see there are all kinds of resources, but these are all ebooks and they're all nonfiction. So great place to come to learn more about a topic in which you're interested or to find information for a school project. The Animal Life Encyclopedia is an encyclopedia about animals. So let's say I wanted to learn more about muntjacs. Maybe I didn't spell that right. But let's see. Close this. No results. Did you mean muntjac? There we go. There's no K. So I want to learn more about muntjacs, and I find that here we go. There are a variety of resources where I can learn about muntjacs, which are a type of deer, apparently. So again, ebooks, but specifically, and encyclopedia entries, but specifically on animals. The next resource that I want to tell you about for nonfiction are a few that don't require any login, and I think they're pretty neat resources. So they're all down here at the bottom, and you'll see that this says does not require login or password. So African American History Online is a great resource for social studies. You'll see that you could come in here and read significant Supreme Court cases. There are also speeches in here that you could review, see famous speeches. You can look at maps and graphs. There are videos that you can watch on the topics. There are featured biographies. And you can come over here and search by topic. You can browse, and there's a search bar at the top. So if I wanted to learn about a prominent African American in history, I could use the search bar here to find. So this is a neat kind of multimedia database. World Cinema Video Collection is another great kind of social studies resource. So, we hear a lot here in the news lately about socialism. So let's say I really want to know what that is because I don't really understand. So I can come in here and I can watch all kinds of videos. Here's one on Bernie Sanders. Here's one. Let's see. I know here's one that's great on capitalism and socialism, a crash course in world history. So I could watch this. You could do this with all kinds of different topics in social studies. But I think it's a really kind of cool resource. And there's also Science Online. which again does not require any login, just like the other two. And like the African American History database, you'll see that there are lots of different formats and materials. So you could come in here and find a science fair project idea. You could come in here and watch a video on a topic in science that maybe you're not quite understanding. But this is a great resource that you don't even have to log into. And finally, down here, the World Book is new, and so I will talk to you all about that in just a second. But the Just for Kids Access video is another free resource that when you first come in, it looks a little juvenile, but it can be great if you're babysitting or you have younger siblings that you're trying to entertain. There are all kinds of shows on here and videos, things like Wild Kratts and Reading Rainbow and Dr. Seuss, so all kinds of things on here. But if you scroll down, you'll find that there are some videos for homework help. There are also TV shows for older kids, which may be of interest to you. So this is just a good place to kind of explore and see if there's something that you're interested in and watching. And again, you don't have to log into this. All right. So I also want to show you Galileo. Galileo is a research database, and this is really a place to go if you are doing research for any kind of class project. And it's not a place to go and get books. It is specifically designed for looking at magazines and newspapers and other resources. So let's take a look at two things with Galileo. First, you'll see that this works outside of school with the Fulton Library, Galileo password only. And the current password is trials, but the password does change periodically. So I'm typing in trials here. I don't need it to save. And I'm logged into the research database. If you're ever coming in though, and you cannot find the password doesn't work, you can't get in. If you come back, here I am back at the library, my account, I'm in my account, and if I look right here under preferences, this says the password to Galileo databases is trials. So this is where you would come and look for it if you were trying to find it, is on the My Account page. So I just want to show you how this is a little different than some of the other things we've looked at. So let's say that I was actually going to write a paper about Jason Reynolds. I don't necessarily want to read books about it by him. I want to read about him. So this database, you'll see, gives me articles. It gave me 598 articles. It gave me some images, so I can see maybe pictures. Those don't look like Jason Reynolds. Those look like Ryan Reynolds. But so you'll see my results show Jason Reynolds. Maybe this is too many. Maybe I only want to see things that were published in the last 5 years. So I'll limit that. Now I have 303. But this is a place where I can do research. So I can find out information about his life, what he's written, what other people think of the books that he's written. And this is just a great place to do research. And this is something that in the future, I think we'll probably do some trainings on how you do research, how you narrow down your results. But for now, I just want you to be aware that this resource is here, and check it out, explore it a little bit, see if it's something that might be helpful to you. So that is it for our ClassPass training. I do want you to know that the slides with the login information will be available to you through the teachers. You can also reach out to me through various platforms if you have questions. I'm happy to schedule a time with any of you individually to walk you through and make sure that you're able to log into anything. You can email me. You can find me on Instagram. You can Skype with me. I'm on Twitter with the library. And I also am able to chat through the Hangouts. It's just sherry.neal. If you start searching for me, I will pull up at my APS contact information. So feel free to reach out to me if you have additional questions. If you're not able to access one of the databases, I would be happy to help you. And Happy reading, and I look forward to seeing you all when we are hopefully back on campus together in a few weeks.